Alright, that is some bullshit. I was not told that I would be replaced in the opening titles with all the people that we've got sending in. That was not informed to me. I hate this competition now. Welcome to the OPL. It is day one of week 5 of Split 2 of the 2020 OPL, and I am very excited to be joined by the hosts with the mosts. It's Spawn, Skimmy, and Rusty. Gentlemen, welcome back to the OPL. Welcome back, me. I'm going to start with who's looking the best today, because we're all kind of looking pretty sexy. Skimmy's like dressed up for something fancy. Rusty's gone for like cool grandpa. Spawn killed something in the wilds. Gonna cook it up for us tonight. Spawn, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, actually. It's one of those days where you get up and you check social media and maybe things aren't going your way again, but you soldier on and you get through. And I think that I'm okay. We'll get there.
We will get there. Rusty, it was touch and go with you there for a while in terms of computer and internet and all the things that we love to deal with the online broadcast, but you did get there in the end.
Yeah, lots of changes happened on my computer this week, Nick. In other words, I turned it off the second the show ended. I turned it on today and everything was broken. But that's technology for you. We're here. That's what matters, right? No matter what the janky solution is that you can't see.
That is what matters. Something that never breaks is the resolve and vigor of Skimmy. Skimmy, buddy, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that you're looking good. You're feeling good. You got new headphones.
I got new headphones.
The earbuds are gone. What's happened?
So it's twofold. One, because all I do now is sit with headphones in all day. It was just hurting my ears. But the second, more important thing is today my baby was sitting on my lap as I was doing some work, and she just got one of the headphones and put it in her mouth, and then it just stopped working. And so there it was a panic call to be like, I need new things. So yeah. There you go. Thank you for noticing, by the way.
Hey, look, I pay attention.
You do.
You're a kiss ass, Skimmy. You're an absolute... Like, what is that?
What's what?
You didn't care about his headphones. You're just trying to get in his good books for some reason. What do you want from Nick?
I'm just really glad to have Nick back.
Why do you... Yeah, no, that's weird now. That's weird. No one's happy that I'm back. What do you want from Nick?
Was there something wrong with my hosting? Like, you didn't send me any direct feedback.
No, it's just good when the boys are back.
He hates Juves, chat.
Mm-hmm.
Skimmy hates Juves.
Now, Juves hates himself. He brings it on himself, let's be honest.
That's true.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I think we can all agree that we're glad Juves is gone. What we are happy about, though, is that we are back for some League of Legends action. Of course, that is thanks to our partners, Macca's, Neosurf, and Epos. And Neosurf, as you saw with the opening titles, the competition we've been running for the last few weeks of the OPL has borne victors, and that was a lot of fun. And so we are going to continue stacking that opening title sequence out with you, the OPL faithful, and presumably replacing someone else and not just me. All you need to do is create a quick video of you joining that call. It's as easy as you saw before. Send that video via DM to @OPL. Follow OPL and Neosurf Esports on Twitter, and you can win yourself a $500 Neosurf voucher to use in the League of Legends store. But you don't even have to win. You don't even need to be the best one. You can be one of the crap ones that's still better than the really crap ones, and you'll get yourself $100 to use in the League of Legends store. All thanks to Neosurf and their wonderful Neosurf vouchers. All the information is on watch.lollysports.com. My goodness, you take a week off. You just forget how to work. So go there for all the terms and conditions. So a big thanks to our partner Neosurf, where you can keep control of your payments and currencies around the world. I've got one more gripe before we jump into the broadcast. And Rusty, okay, I'm sure that you can agree with this, because you've moved a lot, right? You bounce around between countries. You barely unpack a suitcase. When you're trying to slim the crap that you've accumulated in your house down, and you start throwing things out, and you get to things like cables, and you're like, I'm never going to need this again. And then, like, it's like one of those mini USB, not micro USB, like the fat USB thing, not the little tiny one. Anyway, I throw that cable out. I remember vividly the day 6 months ago. I now need that cable. I've been looking for it all day, and I remembered throwing it out. I'm like, this is a lesson to never, ever throw anything out.
But then you need space at a certain point, right? Like, it's a really awkward trade-off, isn't it? You know,
The
like,
box of cables
am I traveling?
never
Do I need the
takes
cable?
space.
What, sorry, Spawn?
Like, I feel like I agree with Rusty because I also like purge stuff, but I feel like the cables are the one thing you never bin. I have cables from like game consoles that I don't even own the game console anymore, but I still have something that turns a PlayStation 2 on for some reason, just in case there's ever a DVD player in the neighborhood or vicinity that requires the same cable to be able to turn on a DVD player from 2003. So I refuse to ever throw out any cables.
But that's actually what will happen. You will never need that cable because you have that cable. You throw that cable out 6 months later, you're running up against a PlayStation 2. It's very frustrating. So if anyone has one of those fat mini USBs, I don't even know what they're called. They're that old. Not the micro USB, but the one before that. Like, send me a DM. I'll buy it from you. I'll pay for the postage, and I'll send you something back.
It's how hoarding
that
begins,
cable.
right? Because we just gather everything, and then the missus or somebody's like, "Why do you have all this crap?" Basically, and you're like, "Because," and then as you say, it gets thrown out, and then boom.
It's terrible. I should become like my father and start clipping out interesting newspaper articles to put in the scrapbook because he hasn't heard of the internet. All right, it's time to jump into the schedule and take a look at the games of League of Legends we'll be playing because it's not all cable talk here on the OPL. Occasionally, we need to play some League of Legends. And boy, do we have some games for you today. Order versus Legacy. Opening strong for game number 1. It's then Chiefs taking on Gravitas, PGG versus MMM for game 3, and rounding out the evening, Avant Gaming versus Direwolves. Gentlemen, there are some good games happening today. What are we excited for, Rusty?
Also, like, the separation of the muck is going to be something that I'm looking at today. The middle of the pack, AV Direwolves game 4 is going to be an interesting one, both tied in the standings. And then you've got Chiefs and Pentanet, who are at the exact same position on the standings, fighting the bottom 2. So it's a form check for those two and see if we get some separation in the standing.
Absolutely. Of course, we have completed one full round robin of the OPL for this split so far. So we'll be doing a look back at those games throughout the broadcast and see some of the winners and losers from that as well. Also, we will be running a one right answer competition. But before we get to that, let's do the standings. Let's just start with standings. Sure, we've got Legacy at the top of the table, 8 wins, 0 losses, and now the standings are gone. So there's no standings. And so instead, you can look them up. Just go to watch.lollysports.com. They're there.
You didn't print screen it? Too bad.
Yeah, exactly. What was I saying before that? One right answer. Check the Twitch chat because there will be a thing there. We need your one right answer suggestions because we're going to be playing that at the end of the evening. There will be a Google form that is dumped into Twitch chat, and so you can put in your suggestions for one right answer, and we'll get to that before the end of the broadcast. All right, it's time to talk about Order versus Legacy. Jake, are Order prepared? Because Legacy certainly are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's really easy to prepare for Legacy, right? Because you have a whole bunch of footage of them winning and you know how they want to play the game. So the actual preparation, Nick, is the easiest bit because all we do is watch Legacy victories. The hard part of the preparation is putting into the play on Summoner's Rift because I talked about this with, Legacy last split, Direwolves when they were all on the top before that, the Mammoth lineup. These teams don't come out. They don't cheese you. They don't do anything that you're not expecting them to do. But stopping the actual just stock standard tough gameplay is difficult. So it's tough and difficult at the same time. So
that's how hard it is.
Yeah, that's how hard it is. It's hard as speaking English sometimes. So I think that Order will need to play well today if they hope to win.
Yeah, I do look at Legacy, though, and say that their last couple of weeks have been incredibly shaky. If ever there was a time to come in with some good form and maybe take the W away, you would expect, just based off the OPL, that this would be the time to do so. So, it is an inconsistent team in Order. They definitely need to bring their best, but, the way that this trajectory is going, they could.
Skimmy, what is the weakness that Order can be taking advantage of with Legacy that we've seen over the last couple of weeks?
I think it's the slow pace the Legacy have been playing at recently. I don't want to call it inaction from Babbitt, but I feel like he's quite quite content just leaving the lane states as they are. They sort of come online around the 16-minute mark when they look to try and contest the likes of a Dragon, try and just run you around the map, and then they seem to get really, I don't want to say lucky, they seem to set up the map in a fantastic state where they have these disengaging tools where they can look to try and push out an inhibitor, they can look to TP backdoor, or they can basically say, hey, we never want to force that fight, we want to make you go in for a Hail Mary attempt, and we're sort of going to get a lot more as a result. I think Order are going to look to try and find themselves in a strong position early game, try and hit them hard in that mid game, and try to abuse this weakness that we've been seeing Legacy somehow miraculously always bounce back in the late game. There's no denying they had the strongest mental, but how many times can they get away with it, right? That's what we're going to have to wait and see.
The only thing we can hope for, Spawn, is that the Order team house is not as cold as your house right now. I assume Jenna is over there turning the heating on for them.
No, so they don't have the same penalty system as I have if the heater goes past a certain threshold in the house. So no, they sleep in a toasty 22 degrees Celsius house at all time, Nick.
There you go. And we will be getting updates from all teams about the temperatures which the players sleep at. That's the kind of quality statistics you can get here at the OPL. All right, it's time to jump into game number 1. It's Order versus Legacy, and it is coming up with the Macca's Champ Select.
Legacy have looked a lot weaker this split than they did last split. So if there is a chance for us to come back, it would be this weekend.
Yeah, they are still undefeated, and they're getting away with some pretty miracle games. I mean, they've been tweeting about it as well, but they've won some games that they shouldn't be winning. They have a god status, but their games have been really close. When other teams improve, Legacy will fall. So, yeah.
If I could give Kuni his first loss of the split, I would be quite happy about it. So that'll be my plan. That'll be my main focus this week, but yeah, it would be enjoyable.
And welcome back for week number 5. We're on a brand new patch here, Rusty 10-13. There have been a few changes. Yumi, the most notable one. An insane cost now on her heal, but it is still going to get banned away. Order still respecting what it brings to the table. One that Isles has used to great effect. And obviously the Death Stance change. No longer going to go from, 20% now to 10% on the mitigation. Still seeing a fair few teams looking to try and build it. But definitely going to dissuade you, making it that guaranteed third item coming online for these AD carries.
Yeah, and I want to say Yumi's one is significant enough to almost warrant just less of a pick ban rate, but first game in here, Skimmy, we already have a ban first by Order away from Legacy, so we'll have to continue to watch that one, as the week progresses. There's still going to be 7 more games after this one, but in this particular game, Skimmy, we already have our first pick locked in, and we do have the undefeated champions in Legacy taking on the most inconsistent Order that we've seen in a while, and that's a pretty big statement given how inconsistent they can be.
Well, this is a bit of a statement to come out of the gates right now, is the fact that they're going to go for Nidalee. Rough showing for Only when he went into Direwolves, but really brought it back when he went into Gravitas, and the guy smurfed it up, to put it lightly, right? I think he finished the game 9-1. He crushed, so a strong jungler already out the door here, and I think that's going to be an area to try and target. We highlighted it a little bit before. What were the weaknesses that have really put Legacy in the situation where they are clinching victory from the grasp of defeat? And they're going to look to just continue the trend of a strong bot lane and a blind pick jungler, which quite honestly at this stage, Graves, always a safe option.
Yeah, Graves and Nidalee are going to be going head-to-head, and you mentioned it last week, right? The Order showing up in that second game, it was a part of not playing the Trundle, playing the tank jungler for Only. It was playing the Nidalee that resulted in them stepping up in their performance and having such a good game. So I'm not shocked, honestly, that we get to see that again. We're also pairing the Ezreal, and this time it's going to be a blind pick Azir as well going with it. So without hesitation here, Order picking a lot of champions that I think it's fair to say are very comfortable for them, and not every team is playing.
Yeah, I think when I see Azir, I do think the likes of Harry and Claire, to say the least. It's been 7 games since we've seen Harry last play this one. He's dabbled into the likes of, your Yasuos and your Silases, trying to play a bit more towards that hard carry initiation role. But Azir, we do love to see it. Same can be said here, obviously, for Tapoon, well known for his flexibility in that top lane. But does continue to like the likes of a GP, and it feels like a bit of an identity that continues to come out here from Legacy, is be it disengage or just global pressure.
So we're in the second ban phase here, and Na's actually going to be one of the first bans away from Swiper. Now you'd imagine that something like a Volibear would be considered here by both teams. You've got the Gangplank locked in, however, already for Legacy, so very unlikely to be seeing it on that side. Order could still very happily look towards that pick, but the Nard just got a slight low tap. It's 20% extra attack speed when you hop. It lasts an extra second. That's big, but I didn't know if that would be enough to warrant a ban away from Swiper, but he's the kind of guy that'll see Nard buffs, he'll play it for the whole week, and then he'll be able to bring it out.
Yeah, possibly had a few rough results and scrims, and don't want to leave that to chance when it is a best of one. The Bard also will be taken away, both Ayla and Isles, no strange to that. A big contest was found during the Split 1 playoffs, so comes to mind as to why you can expect that to be denied here. As the final ban is to be the Echo.
This could be locked in here. Now, Veigar is actually one of the more... He's an unconventional champion, but he's a conventional counter pick into the Azir. So never find yourself surprised if you see a Veigar locked in. However, it's not the most likely option right now, especially because it's Tally, for one. He has his own champions of choice, right?
Yeah, we've talked at great lengths, right? What is Tally's role in this team? It could be the Twist of Fate, it could be the Victor, it could be the Karma. He's got this identity of looking to always empower or protect, and the Cho'Gath here is going to be doing just that. It gives me almost flashbacks to when they drafted a composition with a Lulu, 3 tanks, and a hard carry Kog'Maw. We're going to start to see the formation of that here, with them saving their support pick to last.
Yeah, waiting to see where Order will go here with the Braum. Ezreal now actually secured in the bottom lane. I do think that frees up top lane to be any kind of matchup they would like. They've now got someone that can work with the team with crowd control, can be a tanky member to stand in front. So it could be like a Sion if they want to commit to the team fight, and Kled actually a good engage option that Swiper has been known to play here and there as well. Very curious to see where Order chooses to go here.
Will they decide to lock in the side? They will. We saw Tien bust it out in the Chiefs game and actually gave Legacy a few issues.
Yeah, we saw it twice last week, to varying levels of success, of course, but the Sion, anytime we've seen it at the moment, Skimmy seems to be doing quite well overall.
Now begs the question as to what the final pick will be out here. From Legacy, I mentioned that Lulu was what they drafted in a very similar composition last time, obviously banned away. And with Yuumi taken off the board as well, the enchanting option still seems to be the preference. And Soraka, sustain, why not?
Yeah, they've got definitely hard committed to the route of we don't need crazy amounts of engage. They've got some global threat. They'll have their Twisted Fates, their Gangplanks that exist now and then for Legacy, but they haven't gone for the wombos that we see of a lot of the other teams in the OPL around them. Especially, with Orianna rising up amongst the ranks as a pretty prolific mid laner currently. That one has been banned, and they go for their own route when it comes to team composition. So, Legacy, pretty standard for them overall. But it's not like Order on the other side have got this abundance of engage themselves either. What they do have is 2 junglers here that can be pretty tempo-based. And if they start to get leads around the map, they can influence those lanes pretty aggressively. And then you've got a Braum that you can commit with down in bottom lane if you're Order. You've got an Azir with an Emperor's Divide that you can throw in mid, as well as a Swiper. Sion running around in top lane with those ultimates. So for me, I look at the compositions and I say if Order gets ahead early, they definitely have avenues to snowball here with, whether that's like a bot lane resetting going to top for a gank, or whether that's just only running around on the map doing his own thing. But that is easier said than done as they are facing lanes.
For sure, and it feels quite characteristic that both are looking to go for those tempo junglers, relying on their those guardians, if you will, in the lanes to play out the matchups as you would see fit. I think for Braum, going to be quite happy going to go into the Soraka. We talk about him to have a bit of a passive laning phase, not going to have the strongest engage when you compare it to the other, hook emphasized champions. So Gonna make this one quite exciting here. Rare's been in some red-hot form, quite honestly, himself, and we've talked and seen really how an Ezreal can go toe-to-toe before those first items come online for the likes of an Aphelios. So if they can try and eke out a little advantage there, an edge, some small little trade window that works in their favor before at least the Cannon Barrage comes out from Tapoon, that tends to be a crutch that Legacy play around.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Rare. He actually had a very good week last week. Even though they were losing one of the games, he was that bastion of hope that kept them in it for quite some time. And if that continues into today, yeah, there's definitely some kill threat that we'll see in that bottom lane. It's easier said than done, always. You know, maybe you're comfortable being a Braum into a Soraka, but that doesn't mean you've got the means to actually take them down. As Only has really let Babip know that he's here to play.
Wonder what kind of variation of order we'll get today. Angry Gaming was definitely the mantra when they went into Gravitas after the CC Wombo combo that Direwolves drafted into them. Frustration is what they were brimming with, I'm sure.
This cat and mouse play at level 1 as a result of only hitting 2 spears and forcing Babip to go back to base. They're also going to sweep this, share some experience for both Hayri and Only, much to the dismay of someone like Tally who placed that ward. That's actually a really nice start to this game for them. They've denied all of the vision. They're able to cross the map and start. Now their positioning on the map is ambiguous from level 1.
It certainly is. Letting them know what the plan is. They want to try and be active, try and be aggressive, and try to, like I said, sort of coming into the pre-game here, try and find some advantage in that early mid-game. Look to try and find some kind of snowball fact that you can try and work with and not leave this game to chance where teleports are rampant. As you can see, Legacy once again using 3 of them. But will be matched by Order running 3 teleports of their own to contest. We've seen so many times where they use these globals, this ability to run around the map, force out their opponent's hand to bait them into a team fight, primarily around neutral objectives. We're seeing Barons as a mainstay for just that, but then trading out side lane pressure as a result. And games can be quite even for, say, 20 minutes, but it all just changes in the swing of things as quickly as can be.
Yeah, a lot of teams have been putting most of their emphasis regarding draft and play around the map towards splitting the map. So that does usually result in like Drakes for Herald type trades. But the way that the game is kind of designed at the moment with Drakes just being so important once you get to the 3rd, the 4th, you know, each consecutive Drake beyond that, it's hard to continue to play for that split map style. So a lot of these teams that are finding their success, finding their wins, either have very strong early games that can force their opponents to come to the Drake. So you have inopportune timings, perhaps, if you're that opponent. Or it's about trading the map and getting such a big lead for those early Drakes that it doesn't matter. And Legacy does seem like one of the latter styles of teams, where I think Order would not be afraid to rush themselves some early Drakes and really control the map and force Legacy around.
Well, let's see what they can do as the spear will connect. Only has double buffs. Is going to look to try and go for that kill. Responds with a flash of his own. Both commits and both secure as they get first blood at 3 minutes.
And it's just that simple for Order, right? You hit the Scion Q, you hit the knock-up, suddenly they can throw the spears down. Remember that the ward's being used by Tally. The fact that they don't know where Only starts. They're able to navigate their Nidalee around the map very successfully. Now he has not only that slight camp lead, but has the kill as well. This is going to be a very big nid.
And that's what you wanted to see, right, Rusty, is the fact that they went in level 1, hit a few spears, really set the tone for this game so early on already.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that you expect to see more of as the game progresses, though, and this comes back to that draft point. You know, once his laners start to hit 6, it becomes so much easier to be Only and to be this Nidalee. Like, Babip doesn't have as simple a role, because again, the kill threat in each of his respective lanes isn't quite there. I think most of his time would be spent trying to counter gank or just pressuring.
Which you might just see right now.
Just pressuring more than anything else.
Both junglers were in the bottom lane, but there's going to be a massive discrepancy between the two when it comes to item builds right now as a result of that successful first blood. Only is able to get his jungle item online, and that's going to mean that not only is he ahead in goal, but he's going to be able to continue to find that tempo pressure, which both junglers are so well known for.
And that was a very peculiar little roam down the bottom lane there by Mr. Bip. He could have maybe reset, could have got his first jungle item upgraded done and then continued to farm the jungle. But I think he came down here because of the wave state that you're looking at for Legacy. You know, that extra cannon there, this wave is very slowly starting to build up into something that could crash pretty badly And if that were to happen while Nidalee gets the free ability to move around the map, they could have been at risk of dying. So I think he sacrifices a little bit for himself there to ensure that his bot lane is safe.
Well, they want to keep Babbitt behind right now. They're going to have priority. They're going to be the first ones to rotate, but perhaps they've bitten off more than they can chew. They're going to do a fair bit of damage, but he's going to flash on forward and just punish him significantly, as Harry will not fall victim to the knock-up right there. The clean disengage from Legacy, what looked like a proactive play from Order, turns around on them.
Yeah, that was a nice little dodge there from Harry, but it wasn't ever going to net him a kill. It was a nice, honestly, knock-up from Tally to keep his jungler alive. They'll get themselves the 1-for-1 overall in kills now. They'll trade back. And that's just a result of Order going very aggressively forwards, trying too hard to keep that momentum going and paying the price.
It certainly was. You could see that they felt they were in a desirable situation given the jungle item discrepancy and given the fact they had that wave pushed on him, but Tally was quite willing to sacrifice the CS. Despite all this, he actually is the one still ahead, so it was a win across the board, and that will give Legacy ever the smallest advantages, as they will now be the first ones to rotate. Now build up that lead.
I mean, if everyone's getting a small advantage, Skibby, it adds up quickly. That's the concern that you would have, right? Like bot lane, we spoke about it. It was a wave building. There was a 5 CS lead for Raze by the time that had built. And then only an Hayri show at the Raptors, which means basically Raze and Isles have permission to be hyper-aggressive and try and harass and push them away under the turret. And now suddenly it's 10 to 11 CS, but hold that.
Going to turn our attention to top lane once again. Tapoon does not have any flash. Very vulnerable here, no ultimates. And will fall on down. Babbitt has his eyes set elsewhere. Once again, you highlighted what his other ideas may be. Well, he's gone for the dragon. Has been a Mountain Dragon, and the pressure continues as he goes counter jungling in bot lane.
Yeah, we'll see if he dashes over this wall for the red buff. It's entirely likely. Ayla has just spotted him as well. So now they have vision, they have knowledge. They know where Babip is. Don't think there'll be any kill threat on him at the moment, however, even though that dash was just used. So he's just going to be able to disengage. That does save the red, most importantly. And you'll watch only on your minimap right now move to the red and then potentially actually move over to the enemy side of the map as well, if he's feeling confident enough.
And Swiper's already going to hit that stage as a sign where he's basically making it so you can't play the game. Going to be very well protected if a jungle gank were to come his way, given all the armor he has right now. 2 cloth armors, the ninja tabbies as well. Going to be taking essentially negative damage in these trades.
It's all about hitting those Qs though if you're Ayla and then just putting up the door at the correct time. So you're right, we'll never be taking the damage if things play out, but that's not something that Isles is too concerned with either. As long as he's throwing the Qs, he'll be healing himself, and they whittle down their opponents. That's a big part of the way that this Soraka Aphelios lane works. It's one thing to just sit there and throw Ezreal Qs and Braum Qs, but they have to be able to commit to that one. If they want any chance of winning a trade. Note the CS lead continues to stay at around 12 as a result of that. Top lane's actually that big point of concern. You know, that while there is no kills onto the Scion, he has had a very comfortable time in that laning phase, has got all of his armor up very easily, and never is going to be pushed out of lane by a Gangplank anytime soon. Especially when only consistently hovering topside. Like we mentioned, went from red to red. Absolute control of the game.
Certainly is, and this is the trade-off that we've tended to see, where you're deciding what's worth more at this stage of the game. Do you want the Dragon for that win condition to build yourself up around the 23-minute mark, or do you want the Herald for that easy online gold before those turret plates fall on down? That's going to be the trade-off here. That's what they're going to achieve as a result. Now, it does beg the question as to where they want to use this. Do they want to get turret plates onto Hayri to try and accelerate his ability to hit that 2-item spike earlier? Or do they want to continue to abuse the fact that Tapoon hasn't had the easiest start to this lane?
Yeah, I wouldn't be against using it in top lane for the purpose of freeing Swiper up around the map. You know, one of the scariest things is hearing that Scion ultimate sound and not knowing where he's going. In saying that, yeah, you could use it for mid lane, you could accelerate Hayri just looking for plates, but I would like to see a side lane broken open a little bit if possible. Maybe even bring Swiper down to bot lane and use it down there with Nidalee going bot lane. We'll see where they choose to go though, because I do think there are options.
I would like the side lanes, given it tends to be a strategy legacy play around a fair bit, and teams can sometimes fall into the trap, especially when there is no neutral objective to contest, playing the 5v5 ARAM. Especially when the first turret gets broken, when they flip their bot duo mid.
Only continues to be aggressive in topside. The spear goes AWOL, but it's not going to matter because he has a ton of damage. And apparently a little bit of vitamin C prevents the kill attempt, as that will be enough to zone him away and prevent the 0-3 scoreline. But a lot of pressure going to be deployed now, as the gold will definitely be going in the hands and the pockets of these two here.
Well timed there actually from Only. He needed to get the Herald out before the minion wave had died. Now it doesn't one-hit the turret, which is what you would usually say is the perfect timing for the Herald, but that doesn't matter too much. You know, it saves them a lot of time. It still keeps them with the tempo. They'll get the gold advantage and they'll push top lane away from top lane completely. So it's still overall a massive victory here for Order. Still snowballing their top side of the map. Now there are present concerns on the bottom side, as you're seeing. Turret plates are continuing to steadily fall down in this bot lane 2v2, as it has been pretty much just isolated. You know, if you're Order, you have to assume that Babip has been near the area whenever he's missing, because Only is top lane. So they're not playing to kill their 2v2, they're not playing strong side League of Legends. It's perceived weak side. So they are going to naturally lose these plates, and that means that Legacy is still getting gold in some right places.
Certainly are. What is the concern as we continue to return to that point is this top matchup. You know, we've been very vocal as to how Tapoon is the best top laner in the OPL, but I've yet to see him be in a situation this far behind, this targeted so early on, and Order are starting to run away with this one. This is exactly what we wanted to see from them. A very strong early game, a clear identity as to what to target, transition that into the mid game, and they continue to build the gold lead in their favor.
And gold is basically even, though. I think it's worth pointing that out. Top Moon is behind, but overall gold is mostly even when you look at the spread between all 5 players. One thing to note with Legacy as well is, like, we've been criticizing them, and rightly so, honestly, through some of their performances recently. But they have averaged a pretty significant gold advantage at 15 minutes, or gold lead at 15 minutes. Order actually slightly negative in that respect. So we've got a couple of minutes to see if Legacy can continue to turn this one on. You know, there's no Drake to be seen. There's mostly just turrets that we're going to be looking at through this passive farming. So we may just find ourselves going pretty much even into that 15-minute mark.
Noni has shown no signs of slumming on down. He's pitched a tent in top side and continued it with the gold advantage. As a result, fails to dash across the wall. Will it matter? The cannon barrage comes on down, and Tate's going to rock up to the spot and look to try and contribute. The fight continues regardless, and Babip secures it, stands underneath the barrage. And it acts as a protection ward that allows them to get the kill for free. The continued efforts as the mid laners go back towards their lane, and Harry thinks, why on earth am I here? He falls on down, Flash already being burnt, and once again it's Order being aggressive, playing to the lanes that are winning, but once again being punished.
That was a comedy of errors. That anything that could go wrong just went wrong. I think I only missed like 2 dashes.
Yeah.
And then Hayri just Emperor's divides the Graves onto Only's head. And I have no doubt that Only just said in team chat, I need a new mid laner. Right now, looking for new mid laner for Order. That's so tragic.
If it was a scrim, I'd be asking for a remake at that point. It's a little bit tragic.
That's a pause and just turn around and look at your mid laner and be like, what are you doing? And then he died for it. Oh,
well, we'll see what it means. See how they can bounce back from this one, Rusty. The first turret will fall on down in the top lane, as the turret plates themselves will fall in just under 30 seconds. This will give the ability for Swipe to roam around the map, but in saying that, he has used the teleport to come back to lane, so it's not going to be as easy to access the bottom lane, where the pressure continues to favor Raze.
But hey, Legacy, they took it, they ran with it. It doesn't give them any significant gold advantages, as you can tell, and as you rightly point out, but still a bit of momentum going back their way. The ever-patient Babip also allowing Tally to get that blue buff, as he wastes a lot of time. And we are getting closer to that 3rd Drake of the game, you know, something that starts the momentum shifting in one of the team's ways, as is the Herald number 2, coming up in less than a minute. Both things now going to be, you would have to assume, hotly contested places to look at.
I might see that be the focal point here for Legacy, as now they respond by taking the bottom turret. Frees them up with the ability now to rotate and push Telly into a side lane to match. It's going to give Raze his first item as he gets the Infinity Edge online. Couple that with Isles going for the Dark Seal. free ability power to make these heals as strong as possible as we now pan to top side. And Ayla, a little bit of interest there with the Glacial Fissure. Not going to connect with anything, but that's not going to really prevent them going for the collapse regardless. Babbitt in a whole heap of trouble. Cycles through pretty much everything. But the ignites, the denial, and the death eventually.
Yeah, the timing's perfect, right? The Rift Herald has just spawned. They're going to go straight towards the objective. We look towards Legacy and what they'd be able to do in response, and it's highly unlikely they'll be able to trade for anything. Tally does have teleport, but there is a minute until the Drake spawns. Your only option is contest the Rift Herald. I don't think that's something that they're going to be actively searching for just now. Credit to Order, making the play, getting it successfully, and getting out with no contest.
Second half of the game now, as we get to see what the game plan is here for Order. If they fall victim to the mid-game rotations that tend to be where Legacy try to slow down the tempo even more than it has been so far. They've been quite good at avoiding team fights until the absolute necessary moment. I mean, taking into consideration the El Clasico of last weekend, the game against Chiefs was dead even for 28 minutes. The only time the gold actually swung in Legacy's favor is when the Baron was acquired by them as a result. And you can see the same tune starting to occur here. Small skirmishes across the map. Gold is dead even, 16 minutes in.
Yeah, so there is a point that we'll have to... I'll see if I even have time to discuss this one, but we've got teleports coming in anyway. It's just rare. Hold that as Ayla's going to flash as well, Skippy. We may well just have a skirmish, but it's all about who can hit their engage. And I think we're looking for a Cho'Gath Q as one of the biggest tools to be able to go in forward with if you were Legacy. That and a Gangplank ultimate being able to zone them once the objective has started. So those are the two things to look at. For Order, you've got a Sio coming. That's number one.
Yeah, Legacy are split right now, and Tally's running all the way into bot try. The knockup will prevent him, but then 3 members swarm him with attention. He's going to fall on down, but actually goes for the feast. Christmas has come early, and Ayla has been deleted. Cannot flash away that time, as the Sand Soldiers will do whatever they can to prevent Legacy piling on through for a double kill. And they'll go for that disengage. Order still have numbers in the river, and may regardless still go to connect with this dragon. The poke is causing Legacy a few issues right now, but they've got the teleports to get the items, get the health back, and get back into the mix of things.
Yeah, lots of heals.
It's going to be a sustained skirmish here, Rusty.
You've got the Soraka trying to heal people up, trying to avoid any damage to herself. The teleports for some extra health values. That was the one reason that Order can stand and fight here, is they had the health advantage. We'll see if they're able to continue to play around that advantage that they had, as they are still doing some work here to the health bars of Legacy, and Swiper returns on the flank.
Two-man knock-up. Spooky Ghost locked him in place for the Glacial Orb, and he's just going to feast on towards that dragon. That is theirs. There is no contest here happening today. The Wish comes out and prevents their life bars from falling on down, but eventually Tapoon split from the team, goes down for his third death of the game. Not having the best start to this one, but Order will take that. They are working around it and looking to use it to their best effect.
Yeah, they're doing the best that they can. Now, there has been 2 silence users on Legacy's side. I think it's worth highlighting that, because it's very hard for Swiper to be the engaged tool by himself. If they are constantly silencing him, he may just be dead.
He's going to drift away from that situation. Unstoppable. Will not fall on down, as Legacy continue to push on through mids, preventing the collapse that was trying to be achieved by the second Herald, breaking through mid-tier 1. Good disengage.
Okay. Very extended skirmish overall when you're looking at that whole Drake fight. The thing that I was going to say at the start that was pretty relevant for the start of that fight was the way the Gangplank operates, right? So he not only has the cull, but every time he last hits minions with those Qs or the kegs, using a Q on it, then he gets bonus gold, similar to Twisted Fate. And that's the type of thing where, like, you're looking at a sizable and a notable advantage for Swiper, but at the end of the day, Tapoon's still keeping up, as we're going to see some fancy footwork.
He might not be keeping up for much longer right now. He's going to get collapsed upon from every single angle. There is nowhere for him to run. And Order have got a very clear game plan coming into this one. And being quite vocal as to, in the past, how do we actually target this man? We don't know what to really ban away from him. We don't really know how to contest him. But this time, they've definitely matched him. And if the Trinity falls with the global pressure, he's unable to find that to good effect. But it still will be Legacy looking to play to those side lanes. Won't have full map control, but are evening out the deficit that was found in top lane.
But that's still a really big moment for Order in regards to like a game swing, right? Because it's not just the kill into a gangplank. They break the mid tower. They're going to pressure and most likely break the bot lane outer turret as well. So now they get a whole host of gold going back their way. And most importantly, map control. Because Legacy are going to have to tooth and nail fight their way back into getting that map control. Especially when the only thing that is presently on the map as an option, in quotes, air quotes, is going to be the Baron. But this early in, it's a highly unlikely piece of real estate that teams are going to go too hard towards. So getting that vision control back when you're not even certain where Order are going to be playing next, a little bit harder to do.
You can see from the minimap, the vision belongs to Order right now. One single control ward in top pixel brush. As the full combo comes the way of Harry. They're going to flash on top of that Emperor's Divide. They're not concerned by that one. Out comes the Smite. They look for the trades. But that's going to be a teleport response. Instantly gets knocked up, and Tally's going to walk into 2 members in top river. Say, hang on a minute. This is not where I want to be, but the Soraka silence will give him a bit of extra breathing room. But the takedown will happen regardless. And Order continue to find skirmishes, continue to find fights, and always preventing the exit plan that Legacy are looking for.
And they're still hunting. We'll see if they find Babip and Isles here, because they are still looking. The Q just misses, so the kill threat goes down significantly. But they are going to still push them out of the jungle. That's the biggest win overall. Any side of the map that Order can control outright does make the game much harder for Legacy to play. Face checking, very difficult against the Order composition. You can see a Gangplank ultimate just use their skimmy just to get some vision and ensure that Order aren't actually hitting the Baron. That's the state of the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it feeds into the idea that they just lack vision right now. Once again, take note of the minimap. They're in the dark. They are living in the blind. Everything lit up blue like a Christmas tree right now. Order know where you are, and they're using it to fantastic effect. That's the last 3 skirmishes we've seen. They isolate out a key target in a side lane. They run left, they run right, they run straight forward. And somebody from Order is there waving and waiting.
And of course, we have been talking in a fair amount of detail what Order are doing to keep control of this game, but there are still massive threats on the Legacy side. You know, if we look at even just at the score values, the gold's only 1k difference, so Order do have a lot of vision control. That'll slowly be purchased back here by Legacy, as you're seeing now on resets. They do have a 2-1-2 Cho'Gath who has cheap itemization choices and running that Glacial Augment build. So he's still going to be a unit to deal with. And you have a 2-item Aphelios right now who's getting closer and closer to 3-item. I am just 200 years worth of just raw power in your face. So getting closer to that breakpoint as well. Like, they still exist 100%. It's good because we can sit here and compliment what what Order are getting done. But we can still acknowledge that Legacy are definitely not out of this game. They are well and truly in it with a strong fighting chance. And we bring our eyes back to objectives to see if they can find a difference maker.
I'm glad you're bringing it up because absolutely right. Raze has been quietly farming away, keeping up a healthy lead. You know, 50 CS over Rare, making sure that this Aphelios will meet the damage requirements that this comp justifies it for. Kind of feeds into the identity that once again, you know, you've got a bunch of tanks looking to try and farm up from afar, cheap item builds with the Cho'Gath. And when they do look to try and go for that all-in fight, that they'll have enough juice left in the tank to ensure that all the previous skirmishes that Order look to try and achieve some kind of map control, some tempo advantage, get completely undone.
It really was set up here at the moment, Order, when you've got an Ezreal with his 2 items done, almost impossible to catch. If he's sitting in mid lane clearing the waves by himself, this frees up Ayla and Swiper at times as well to be able to move around and get their vision control as a grouping, as a team. That makes it really hard for someone like Legacy to look for picks and look for trade backs and punish any kind of assertion of map control. Starting to really pay off. The risk, of course, is as the game goes, while it is a 0-4 Gangplank who is sitting in bot lane right now, he still clears waves real quick. He's still making a whole lot of money, more than Swiper will be catching the same waves. Order maybe starting to feel pressured or trying to pressure Legacy. It's to be determined.
Yeah, it looks like Order right there, trying to force the hand of Legacy, and we want to take a fight right now. Want to force you to come at us and not let you continue to be content in just slowing down the tempo of this match, farming away, and leaving it to late game when the respawn time has become 40 seconds upwards.
They got the teleport. That's a win for Order. They are playing the map better once the Baron was up and running. They do get themselves the second Drake for them. But because Legacy have been able to get an equal share of Drakes, it has slowed the game down quite a lot. Legacy, once again, showing their finesse as a squad, able to make those picks here and there, keep their gold values equal when they can.
Yep.
And kind of keep the game at that standstill pace, which is very consistently Legacy at the moment and has been for some weeks.
You have to say, Rusty, they're one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to discipline as to what objectives are necessary, when to go for those Hail Mary smite attempts in those steals. You saw that obviously as a glimpse coming in with split one.
Yeah, I feel like there is this reliance though on just being better than their opponents as Isle's in trouble.
He certainly is. Goes for the face check, trying to get some vision down on the map. He's going to get caught out and punished as a result. That's going to warrant the resources of Legacy being brought away from these side lanes as they show face in mid.
The dodge from Hayri to keep himself well and truly alive. Does have enough health to be able to contribute to the team fight. If he were to teleport in, he's going to teleport in a safe space. So now they've got the man advantage. They are committing to this one. You don't teleport in unless you're looking for something meaningful. Swiper's ultimate not available. Ayla doesn't have flash or ultimate himself on the Braum. So Baron is the play.
Looks like they're going to disengage though. As soon as that cannon barrage came on down, they are taking a whole host of damage as a result. The knock up onto 2 will once again continue their ability to disengage away as only searches for targets to land a spear onto. The knockups continue. So much CDR, so much slowing potential to allow the damage to rain from afar.
Yeah, pushing them away completely, so they'll get the mid lane out of turret here as well, Skimmy. So Legacy overall, they'll catch the play. They know it's not a bluff. Now they're going to get full control of the Baron pit themselves, and knowing how much damage they did to the health bars of Order, they are committing to the Baron.
But how crazy is that, right? The fact that they baited out the teleport, then they disengage away, but they're able just to once again have so much control. Tally's in a whole heap of trouble. He's going to look to get one shot. He goes for the knockup. He goes golden. Only's going to fall on down. Unable to get the executes. As Tally flashes out but receives one final shot, will fall on that as a result as well. The Baron is still there. It's getting closer and closer to smite range. Who's going to go there? Whoa. There's no smite. In the end, it is Aphelios able to beat out Hayri. The battle of the ADs. And Sazir will get that kill onto the Graves, looking to try and deny as many of these Baron buffs as possible. They're taken down 2 so far. But Legacy, in the most chaotic events leading into a Baron acquisition, are able to grasp it.
Yeah, so the Baron was at like 5,000 at the point that Order choose to make that play. Only hits a spear and chooses to make the bold move of dashing in. And that decision murders him and unfortunately ruins a lot of the chances of Order here. Because if he stays alive and just keeps pressuring, instead of using that flash in and dying for that, I think Order are 100% able to win this a lot easier at the very least. Now, this fight becomes Babip running away. Order like, oh, it's at 1k. And then Raze and Hayri just do basic autos, but Raze holds his mark that he has on the Baron for as late as possible to be able to get the kill as he's stuck inside an Azir wall after that one. Raze does everything.
200 into 50 health, incredibly close. We've seen stranger things with Poppies looking to steal it with their ultimates. And now Order in a spot above it. Halo is the focus, but then the rotation from Swiper top river comes on in. Cannon Barrage locks him to Tribush. That's a 1-for-1 so far. Support for jungle. This is looking good so far for Legacy if they continue to find some fights, but it's not going to be enough because Order find carry damage and they find shutdowns. And Swiper, he will fall down eventually, but the afterlife will continue to ramp on through. Rare has so much cooldown reduction and he is so damn nimble, as is the cat that pounces on through. They ban the Yuumi, they take the Nidalee, and they get the dragon.
And the Baron's basically gone. You know, Legacy, the remnants of them is just Raze trying his hardest to keep that Baron buff alive for his team. But the punish from Order is outstanding. A very dispersed and separated type of battlefield there. You know, Swiper coming in from once again a big flank, hitting a nice Scion ultimate once again. He's definitely playing a outstanding top lane game here. But Rare just puts in some massive work himself and cleans up that entire team fight with some clean skill shots. Order, well and truly still in this.
And it's, you know, really solid from him, considering he's down by 1,500 gold. The CS discrepancies between the two is starting to get close to a Flame Horizon. But he's utilizing that form that was
incredibly proficient coming out of last week. He's retained that. And he's bringing it to a team that they are looking to take on down. This will be a statement if Order were able to clinch a victory here today. We come back to the 30-minute mark, and once again the gold is as close as it has throughout this match.
This is definitely starting to feel like an AD carry versus AD carry type game, you know? Like, we've got neither of them having died yet. You've still got carries elsewhere. You've still got scaling damage elsewhere for sure, you know, like Hayri's there. But one of the key difference makers for me, just looking at these drafts, is the Scion. You know, he's stupid tanky once he completes that stone plate, which wouldn't be too far away. And there isn't really a dedicated tank on Legacy's side. It's the healing. It's the ability to outplay, perhaps, as well as having 2 silencers there for Legacy's side that can make a difference. So that's what you have to keep your eyes on. You know, if Rare's able to hit his skill shots, and they definitely can put in some work and go for those kills. But if Legacy play with vision control first, making proper decisions and making Order come towards them, there's still definitely some avenues of attack for them. And you've got Raze, 202 with his 3rd item, almost 4th completed. Just an absolute powerhouse. Just a big old fridge.
I like that. He's definitely got a fair much of groceries in that fridge, as you say, with the QSS now. It's going to be even far more protected with the sustain that comes out from the rest of this team. Tapoon, interestingly enough, is actually building into what appears to be the Leandries, so the Cannon Barrage has been causing Order a few issues. And if they're locked in place by these knock-ups and Glacial Augments that Tally keeps throwing their way, could be a major difference maker.
Will this game ever end? It's so hard to push if you're a Legacy into the Order boys. Constantly you just have things thrown at you. But as it stands, Order are reliant on hitting those exact spells to be able to break these structures. The only other option that they would have is a big ultimate coming out of Swiper just straight down the middle of a lane. But he's currently sitting in a side lane, or a mid lane at least, for the rest of his teams in bot. This turret could drop, but it's constantly contested, and it's just so hard to deal with Legacy as well.
Order right now keeping max range, playing with their poke from the Ezreal and Nidalee, getting some good chip damage off before they look to try and commit to the turret acquisition. If not successful, then they can just look to disengage away and play off these next objectives that will be spawning. Baron up in under 50 seconds, and an Ocean Soul Point to play for in under 90. So there are situations at which they can contest, but a quick stock check of the map showcases that whilst there is 3 healing cut options here for Order, there is a 3-level difference between the 2 junglers as well. It's a massive thing to take into consideration given how close we are to these big objectives.
Oh, I just realized, Skibby, we have a Leandri's Gangplank running around.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned before. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's significant ult damage, for one. So if Order have control of the map and they're looking to start an objective, you know, you've got the Soul in a minute, you've got the Baron in 15 seconds, and a Gangplank ultimate comes down on you, you lose half of your health per player just by standing in it. That enough could be enough to win a team fight by yourself. You know, you don't need engage when their health bars are too low to do anything. Big brain here from Topu.
I'm liking it. Now we're going to see a glimpse as to actually what it can do. The knock-up from Tally will not connect, but that's going to be the Graviton from downtown as the Aphelios will make sure they find the situation. It's going to force Ayla to flash into the Raptor camp and disengage away, once again unable to use it as an aggressive tool.
Sion.
The collapse is there. Sion jumps in, receives a silence, receives a knock-up, and receives a second silence. Unable to play his character for a second. Glacial Vision not going to achieve too much, but Hayri with the 3-man Empress Divide. Could that be the turning point? Isles falls on down. Can they get a second? It's a 1-for-1 so far. Hayri eventually falls on down as the Zonias expires. The second tank crumbles. And no longer is there a Tally in the fold of things, as Tapoon gets pushed away into a side lane in order to get enough control to control this dragon and get themselves the Ocean Soul Point.
And again, credit to Swiper, finds the engage, finds a big flank, and yes, maybe he doesn't follow it up with a knock-up afterwards, but the skirmish was on, the team fight was on. In Order, they're able to get themselves a pick onto 2 members now. Tally and Isles gone. Legacy, they're hitting the Baron.
Oh no.
They're going to be pushed away, however. Once again, Swiper teleporting into the mix. And this may well just be Ocean Soul and a Baron buff secured for Order. And it's almost impossible to contest that.
With the 3 members that are still alive here for Legacy, they can't kill Sion.
Bavin's just going to get soloed on out here. Rare fancy feet looking so damn clean. Hits them skill shots, bounces on forward, and the cannon barrage too little too late. There will not be a disengage attempt as Tapoon goes down for another 50 seconds. This is going to be Order picking up an Ocean Soul and a Baron and putting daylight between these two.
Yeah, Ocean Soul obviously giving a lot of healing to the members that they were trying to go on their legacy, but Babbitt dashes a wall, instantly regrets his decision, is made to pay for that. They'll get the Baron buff with some extra gold in the pockets as well here. They have a good scaling composition when it comes to their team fights, and when they have the Baron control here, Order, their ability to control 2 lanes at once should be enough to start breaking structures with a great deal of success.
We've seen Legacy in situations like this before, Rusty, where they have been tested to their limits. Their mental, how many times have there been situations like this where they're behind, where they're sacrificing so much? What can they do this time? What magic tricks do they have up their sleeves? They've only now just got some healing cut. Much needed given the current state of things, and it will be present on the Aphelios with that mortal reminder.
Do you know why people play a lot of team compositions that have engaged, Skimmy? Because it's very simple. The way that you play, in the way that you play as a team as well, it's very simple. Speaking of engages.
The guy literally just got a headshot, knocked up 14 different times, disengages away, receives a heal, gets a redemption, and lives to tell the tale. Swiper putting on his best Ornn cosplay with some Swifty boots on as well. Gets into the fold of things, and that headbutt will be enough to secure themselves the first turret. What could be a very successful Baron siege attempt here.
And the reason that I bring that up is because I feel like you need to not just be a 1% better team. You need to be, even if you're equal in skill, you need to have so much finesse to be able to win with a comp that doesn't have engage. But you make one mistake against a comp that does have it, and you could lose the whole game. And we've been seeing a little bit of that here. You know, Order, they've been playing topside, they got the Scion ahead, they start looking for these engages with that Scion, and it works.
They want to go for a cow. Oh my gosh, the damage! Harry's health bar evaporated. No chance to even consider pressing that button of Azonia's. He literally got 50% of his health taken in one fell swoop. That's a knockup of Zayda on the flank. The cannon barrage locking the other 3 members in the lane. Fate itself. The poke comes out as Order look to try and feign a disengage, but turn around every single time a skill shot connects. Only jumps in 1v3. What on earth is he doing right now? The man has an absolute death warrant. He does not seem to care. Out goes the true shot barrage. It connects with nobody, but that's going to be the shutdown as Order begin to crumble apart. The TPs come on in, and Legacy get a sniff of trouble, a sniff of suspicion, and say enough is enough.
I'm just going to stop saying that teams are going to win. You know, I was building up to saying Order should be able to break inhibs here, and then they lose a team fight. And now their opposing team, with no hesitation, Raze teleports mid, and Rare's just going to press tab and look at his team and be like, come on. He's got Swiper nearby, so they won't be able to break any structures. But Legacy buy a lot of time, they buy a lot of map control, and they make the game a little bit easier for themselves. Once again, Skimmy, 38 minutes in, gold is basically dead even. And there is an Ocean Soul on Order's side, so that's a consistent advantage that is going to be there that Legacy will not have. But we've got an Elder Dragon spawning in 2 minutes, and I think they've bought themselves more than enough time to be able to get to that one successfully, and that's without losing their base.
That was the big question. How much value could they achieve with the Baron? Their plans to try and take that inhibitor to guarantee the likes of an Elder will definitely shut down the deceptively strong nature of a Cho'Gath feast from 50% of your health bar. Evaporated Harry's hopes of keeping up the 1-4 split. But the disengage attempt was definitely stronger as well, which you highlighted only moments prior. This could be a game of 80 carry difference. Well, it was 100 CS between the two of them.
There is indeed.
But that's not to take anything away from the fact that Rare, much like the number 7, has 7 kills to his name. He's playing phenomenally.
Well, there is a difference of team composition as to why there is a major CS difference as well, right, between both AD carries. Because Tally's fallen down about 50 plus himself, and that's because Nazir wants to be definitely a scaling mid lane option for the team. So you can't afford to give all of your resources to Rare. As long as Hayri doesn't pull a Rare and die in mid lane randomly, they'll be in a position to still have
happen in recent times, so have we? He's been a lot more disciplined, has definitely got to be the key words.
far less vulnerable to those montage moments of looking to try and dash on in and make something happen.
It's like the insect for me at this point. If I see someone in a position where they look like they're comfortably in the lead, just spontaneously die in mid lane, that is a rare in my head.
Well, that's a scary situation. Out comes the Wishing Soraka, look to try and top them up as much as they can. The Glacier Fish goes out, Sophisticated towards the Cannon Barrage is where they're all going to be stacked in right now. Swiper, as tanky as can be, walks on out, does not receive the knock up there from Cho'Gath. Harry, deep behind enemy lines, trying to find any member caught on the rotation. You can see the reason why they want to make this fight happen, because there's 10 seconds on the Elder. No difference in the economy of these two teams. What they are looking for is a meaty respawn time. You're looking at least 60 seconds at this point.
Yeah, Swiper actually just recalls, goes back to base, teleports in here as well. So he's looking, he's hunting, wants to push them away. Remember, they have the Ocean Soul. So anytime they're just harassing and poking like this, they're able to stay in the lead.
Deleted, gone, good night, sweet dreams. That is the end for Isles Health Bar there. Unable to make anything happen in this one. That is something that's been causing him so many issues. The sustain factors, they now find themselves a double. Gonna go into this Elder fight 5v3 with Ocean as well, and the harass that really prevents Legacy from coming on in for a contested. This could be it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my breath when I say this, but it definitely feels like this should be the final straw, the thing that gets Order over the line. They've got Elder, they've got Baron spawning in 5 seconds as well, so with these back-to-back objectives, I think there's no excuse for Order here, but to say that they're in absolute control. One reset after this, and they should just be able to try and control the whole map, maybe even finish the game in a single push. Depending on that man on your screen. If Raze is able to pull out some miracles, if Tally perhaps is as well, then things could shift. But this is Order's game to lose from now on.
Legacy taking the crown from Pentanet when it comes to the longest games in the league. So many games we've seen so far have gone to the 35-minute and onwards. And it begs the question now, what do Legacy still have left? They are looking to try and connect and collapse, but the fights themselves are proving to be rather problematic in the sense of poking versus engagement versus knockups and versus CC. The combination of factors, the Baron, the Elder, the Ocean Soul as well, as powerful as Order can be.
They can't lose this, you know? If they find a way to lose this, you have to be impressed.
Oh no, Ray's in trouble, forced to flash away immediately, did not want to get caught out from the rest of his team. Out comes the Cannon Barrage, rather preemptively. The attention is still shown towards this mid inhibitor.
Oh, it's broken. They're going to get an inhibitor 100% here as well. And they should just commit to the one lane of play. This is the longest game of the OPL so far, Skibby. I don't think we'll see too much more of it if things continue to go to script.
Rise firmly set on taking those Nexus turrets. Order was so close to taking down Legacy at the start of Split 1. They fell victim then. They're searching for the first victory here. An upset to open up week number 5 would be huge. 8-0 are Legacy right now. This would definitely propel Order up the ranks. They are still searching for their first 2-0 week here. And this would be a statement that would send shockwaves through the league. The first turret falls on down. Members getting closer and closer to the Elder execution range. The second one's going to fall on down. They're just going to have enough damage to just go for the Hail Mary attempt to end this game. Redemption comes on out. He goes golden. He turns around. He looks to try and make something happen. The Elder zaps too. Now they've fallen down with Harry. So they have enough damage left in the tank to try and find an extra kill. They will indeed. As they just pounce on through. Shutdown after shutdown. Game over is the emote. And that is Order giving Legacy their first defeat of Split number 2.
Yeah, from 8-0 to 8-1, Skibby, and you could feel it coming based off the last couple of weeks of performance from Legacy. We were waiting for what was that one moment that really blew a game outright. It went the way of their opponent. So this time it happened to be Order who found their form, and there was still some very inconsistent moments sporadically, laced throughout the game here if you were Order. But you have to be happy as an Order fan because they not only get the win, they get it against Legacy.
They certainly do. A clear game plan there from the start as to where they wanted to go, what they wanted to achieve, and how they wanted to get about things as a result. And in the end, they were able to not fall victim into the mental game plays that Legacy are so well known for here in Split 2 as to hitting at the 40-minute mark and finding picks and finding magic. It's not to be the case here today. The league gets shaken up just a little bit coming into week number 5. We're going to cool off, jump to a quick break, and when we come back, it is Chiefs taking on Gravitas.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win. NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got this! It's deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play onto multiple members. He gets himself a double kill. It's Ray's doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.